Social media has completely changed the way we connect, date, and understand relationships. What used to be private, what used to be hidden behind polite smiles and carefully curated lives, is now exposed for the world to see. Every post, every story, every video is a tiny window into someone's psyche, their habits, their history, and their patterns. And if you're paying attention, you can read between the lines. You can see who carries emotional baggage, who is self-aware, and who is still operating on autopilot from past experiences. The world of dating has transformed into something more complex than ever before. People aren't just showing up with their best selves. They're showing up with every single layer, every scar, every lesson, and sometimes every mistake, all packaged together, often unintentionally. But here's the thing: recognizing patterns, understanding emotional debt, and spotting red flags isn't about judgment. It's about self-preservation, clarity, and making conscious choices that protect your mental health and your heart. When someone repeatedly posts about heartbreak, past drama, or emotional chaos, it's not always a cry for sympathy. Sometimes it's a sign of unresolved emotional debt. The leftover pieces from relationships that didn't work out, the leftover expectations, and the unhealed trauma that carries into every new connection. The modern social media environment accelerates this exposure. People have echo chambers that constantly reinforce their narratives, their grievances, and their emotional perspectives. They gain likes, comments, and attention not for being balanced or reflective, but for being dramatic, relatable, or provocative. It's addictive. The validation cycle keeps them spinning, and if you're dating them, whether they realize it or not, you become part of that cycle. I've observed it countless times. Someone meets a new partner, and almost immediately, patterns emerge. There's oversharing, frequent comparison with past partners, unrealistic expectations, or the assumption that the other person is responsible for fixing what went wrong before. And here's where the psychology comes in. Emotional debt accumulates invisibly. Every unresolved argument, every betrayal, every heartbreak, every boundary that was crossed, every manipulation they experienced, every time they were hurt and didn't have closure, all of it builds up. And when the next relationship begins, they are unconsciously carrying that debt into it. They're expecting, sometimes subtly, for the next person to pay it off, to provide reassurance, to offer stability where chaos existed, and to validate them continuously. This isn't inherently malicious. It's human. But it's critical to understand, because when we enter relationships without awareness, we can end up as therapists, fixers, or emotional cleanup crews rather than equal partners. You don't want to be the person who inherits someone else's unresolved issues without their accountability. It's why awareness is so important. It's why observing behavior patterns on social media can be illuminating. When someone constantly posts about validation, heartbreak, or drama, it's a clue. When someone celebrates being pursued endlessly or thrives on attention from multiple sources, it's a clue. Not a moral judgment, just a signal. The key is not to get angry or cynical, but to become aware and deliberate in your choices. Emotional intelligence isn't just about your feelings. It's about recognizing patterns in others and responding strategically, thoughtfully, and ethically. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine a woman in her early 30s who has had a series of relationships that didn't work out. Maybe she spent years seeking excitement, or validation, or closeness with people who weren't aligned with her values. Social media allows her to express that, consciously or not, in ways that are visible. She might post about dating experiences, share inspirational quotes about self-worth, or recount past heartbreaks. Each post is a micro-expression of her emotional state. Now imagine a man entering her life. He's kind, successful, and ready to commit. He's unaware of the emotional history she carries. The first few months are blissful. Then the posts and conversations reveal a pattern, frequent comparisons to exes, expectations for reassurance, sensitivity around boundaries, and subtle cues of unresolved past trauma. If he isn't aware, he may try to soothe, reassure, and fix, inadvertently becoming a participant in her unpaid emotional debt. And this is where the psychology of the modern dating landscape becomes fascinating. Emotional debt isn't just about resentment or bitterness. It's about unmet needs and unresolved experiences. When handled with awareness, boundaries, and open communication, it can be managed. When ignored or accepted blindly, it can drain energy, create conflict, and erode connection. Social media doesn't create the debt, it exposes it. The trick is to see it clearly, understand it, and decide consciously how you want to engage. Let's talk about accountability. Everyone carries some form of emotional debt. It's unavoidable. The question isn't whether someone has it. The question is whether they are aware of it and actively working on it. Healing isn't passive. It doesn't happen through posting inspirational quotes or seeking validation from strangers. It happens through reflection, therapy, self-work, and taking responsibility for your patterns. If you want a healthy relationship, you need a partner who is actively managing their emotional life. Someone who can recognize when their past experiences are influencing present behavior. Someone who can communicate clearly, set boundaries, and respect yours. Someone who understands that emotional labor should be mutual, not one-sided. The modern dating marketplace rewards transparency, intentionality, and emotional literacy. Those who hide behind dramatics, attention-seeking, or projection will eventually clash with partners who are self-aware and have clear boundaries. Awareness creates empowerment. When you understand your patterns, when you recognize emotional debt, when you are conscious of the dynamics at play, you can make better choices, avoid toxic entanglements, and invest your energy where it matters. Let's break down some of the behavioral patterns you might see on social media or in real life. First, constant validation. Likes, comments, and social feedback are the external currency of self-esteem. Someone who depends entirely on this for emotional stability may struggle to invest fully in a one-on-one relationship. Second, repeated trauma sharing without processing. Posting about past relationships, heartbreak, or betrayal can be cathartic. But if it's constant and accompanied by avoidance of personal growth, it signals unresolved emotional debt. Third, comparison and idealization of past partners. People often hold new partners up against a composite of all previous experiences, creating unrealistic expectations. Awareness here allows you to set boundaries and decide if you're willing to engage in that dynamic. Fourth, projection. Emotional patterns from previous relationships can be unconsciously projected onto new partners. Someone may assume malice, disinterest, or abandonment where none exists. Recognizing projection helps maintain clarity and avoid unnecessary conflict. Now, here's the empowering part. The solution isn't avoidance. It's informed engagement. You can choose partners who are emotionally healthy, who communicate clearly, who are self. You can recognize patterns without judgment. You can set boundaries and refuse to participate in cycles that drain you. And the best part, This awareness creates a new kind of dating economy. Instead of reacting blindly to social media personas, drama, or attention-seeking behaviors, you're acting from insight, not impulse. You're choosing quality over availability, growth over drama, mutual respect over unpaid emotional labor. If you're watching this and thinking about your own experiences, reflect honestly. Are you carrying unpaid emotional debt? Are you aware of your patterns? Are you actively working on your growth, or relying on new partners to provide stability, reassurance, or healing? Awareness and accountability aren't punishment. They're freedom. They free you from repeating cycles, from unhealthy attachment patterns, and from toxic dynamics. They allow you to create real intimacy, not just surface-level connection or dopamine-driven attention. Social media has given us unprecedented insight into human behavior, but insight alone isn't enough. Action is required. If you notice a pattern in someone else, set boundaries. If you recognize it in yourself, take responsibility. If you want a relationship that thrives, invest in growth, clarity, and honesty. Now here's your call to action. Comment below with your own experiences. Have you ever realized that someone's social media revealed deeper patterns about their emotional life? How did it affect your relationship decisions? Share your story. Let's build a community of awareness, growth, and intentional connection. And if you're finding this content valuable, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. There's more coming where we break down human behavior, modern dating psychology, and actionable insights to protect your heart and your energy. Remember, awareness is power, accountability is freedom, and informed choices create lasting connection. Don't settle for surface-level attraction or drama-driven relationships. Look deeper, recognize. Patterns, set boundaries, and choose partners who match your energy, values, and emotional readiness. Social media exposes patterns, but it also gives you the chance to act wisely. The cleanup crew era is over. The era of conscious, informed, emotionally intelligent dating is here. You have the tools, the insight, and the power to make smart decisions. Don't just react, choose consciously. Build relationships that are fulfilling, healthy, and sustainable. Protect your energy, respect your boundaries, and invest in partners who invest in you. The game has changed. The mask is off. Insight is available. And now, it's your turn to act. Don't pay for emotional debt that isn't yours. Don't accept drama disguised as depth. Demand accountability, seek clarity, and cultivate connection with those who have done the work and are ready to show up fully. Your love life, your emotional energy, and your peace of mind deserve nothing less.